We are live.
Okay, welcome everyone to the May 2nd, 2024 Electrical Board of Electrical Examiners meeting. Let's see, before we start, let's just go around with a roll call so that we know who's here.
Bill Baldwin, electrical examiner.
Victor Shepard. Bill Mackey, Planning and Zoning.
Craig Busick, MDIA.
Mike O'Neill, Planning and Zoning.
Brian Foreman, Planning and Zoning. Okay.
Reed is our acting secretary.
Yay, Beth.
She doesn't have a mic.
Okay. Before we start the meeting discussion, you have a copy of the minutes from our previous meeting. If you could review those and see if there's any corrections that need to be made, that would be great. And actually, when I was reviewing the minutes from the last meeting, I remembered that I had volunteered to check the plant electricians to make sure that Angelica Dixon and Chesapeake Farms were all using master electricians, and they were all on board. I believe most of them were using Pender, and Dixon is using Lowell, something, the company that bought out Bob Lawson. Lywood, yeah, yeah. So, they're all good to go on using master electricians.
That's great, Brian.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Did you inform them that their implant license isn't a thing anymore?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why you called, actually.
Exactly, yeah, yeah, and most of them were like, yeah, as of a certain date, we needed to use a master electrician,
So they already,
yeah.
that's
Well,
great.
technically, they were supposed to, prior to, they had a master electrician on staff. And then that person could use the implant license to do the work on the property. And then they were required to get an inspection every 2 years. So they always had to have a master electrician,
Oh, okay.
but they can't get that every 2-year inspection. If they do
Oh,
something
gotcha,
new,
gotcha.
they have to get it inspected like a standard operating
Right.
procedure.
Right,
So
okay,
whether they're aware of that or not, I don't know. Because like I said, we can't issue a license for any electrical entity at all.
right. Well, most of them were just saying that anytime they needed electrical work done, Pender was usually the one they called. Now, whether he calls in for an inspection or not, you know, I'm sure they are aware of what needs to be inspected.
Vendors is aware.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of a big one, that's awesome.
Yeah. How do the meeting minutes look? Do you guys want a motion to approve those?
First motion to approve minutes from last meeting.
Second.
Great. Note that the meeting minutes from March 7th have been approved. And the main topic of discussion is the adoption of the 2023 electrical code. We were talking about this, and Mike sent a email to John Bull about when we should adopt it. And according to John, this email, the state is required to enforce the current code 18 months from the date of issuance. So whenever the code is first published, we will begin to enforce it in that time frame. So, I got my notes here. The 2023 code was published in September of 2022. And so that means March of 2024, it's being enforced by the state. And we were about to adopt it in May of this month. Yesterday was kind of our time that we had discussed adopting it, and that is 1 month and 5 days past the time that the state starts to enforce it. So that's kind of where we stand as the planning and zoning. We heard that Queen Anne's is preparing to adopt it in June or July after the MDIA,
July or August.
July or August now.
The board members stated 30 to 60 days. They're going to decide, I guess, at their next meeting after the MDIA code course that we're waiting on Delaware's approval for the class. So whenever that happens, we'll set a date, and then I guess those board members will be able to decide when they want to go.
Okay.
Excuse me, Brian, who's John Bull, just for clarification?
John Bull,
Executive Director
Yeah.
of Mulek.
Okay.
No. He's licensing. Maryland.
Licensing?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, I'll give you the email.
Is that an extra? I mean, you won't have that?
Yeah, we can
Get it
probably,
later.
Did he say they did? So they have,
Oh,
the
okay.
state of Maryland has adopted the 23.
according to
they
him,
don't
the state
adopt it.
doesn't adopt it, they just enforce
They
it.
recognize
Yeah.
I get
the
it.
code 18 months after its publishing date. According to him, technically, the state of Maryland doesn't enforce or do any sort of enforcement with code. They recognize the code, which is then in turn the county's job to be on the same terms with the state.
So we just have to recognize it.
And then I have to enforce it.
That's the code.
So from my point of view, our code is pretty clear that we adopt it when the state adopts it, but my understanding is that long precedent has been that this board has adjusted that time, but that's really a precedent matter. I think by law, we really have in our code that we follow the state and we adopted the same 18-month period. So, but I'm certainly willing to honor precedent since
Well, that
there's a
extra
concern,
time,
but
that extra time given by the state is to allow the local jurisdiction to be more stringent, make extra,
Right.
add things to the book.
right.
But we've never done that. We just go with what's in the book.
And my concern in this area is just that we're taking on sort of liability if we don't follow the state. You know, that's sort of the way Maryland goes. We'd be sort of on our own. Other counties do that, but I'm assuming they have bigger legal funds, so.
Also, it helps their insurance rating scores.
Correct. ISO, you betcha, yeah.
So,
And we get reviewed for that every 3 years, I think, so it's pretty intense. Well, you know all about that. You're part of the fun. So, how do you feel about it, Craig?
It's a rock and a hard place. It's going to change eventually. At some point, you gotta rip the Band-Aid off. But I'm talking to the supply house, and getting the materials is proving to be hard. I don't know what the right answer is. You know, if jobs could come to a screeching halt and not be able to get finals and occupancy permits because they can't get the materials they need because of the code that's being enforced, that's gonna be a problem. But if something happens and we're not up to current code, that could be a problem.
What about a halfway position? Historically, has there been any move where if you have a current permit now, that you can finish under your current code?
Oh, yeah.
So that permits issued as of starting today would have to follow 2023?
That's how it works.
That is how it works?
Yeah,
Okay.
it goes by the date of permit issued,
Okay,
is what
so-
code cycle you're under.
So then no one really should be surprised that much?
If there's something posted on the
Yeah, well, I mean,
window in there saying we've updated the code and,
my goal is after this meeting is whatever this body decides, whatever decision we come to, I'm sending an email to all
Sure.
all the
300
registered.
people on your mailing
Yeah.
list, Mike, and just telling them this is what Kent County's doing.
Yep.
No, originally, we talked about trying to follow and trying to stay in step with Queen Anne's County because we overlap, the electricians overlap into both counties quite a bit, right? So,
Queen Anne's County's
That's-
reasoning for doing that is because they want to get their journeymen, their employees
what did
up to snuff
the
on it.
MDIA class last year,
It was on 2023
that's what I
updates.
thought.
So we're just moving to a different section of the code book.
Right.
So you've already been doing the trainings.
The last training was on 2023 updates. I mentioned that to the Queen Anne's County Board.
Yes. The only part that, I'm with you with, rip the Band-Aid off, move forward, but at the same token, if we're bidding jobs and we're doing jobs in both counties, then we gotta price one county to one way. I mean, to me,
I don't care either way
I've
what
been pricing
the
to
date
the
is.
23 for the last year or more, so.
Right.
Just that way we're covered. And people ask why. And we're trying to take you as far as we can to make your place safe,
Yeah.
according to the code.
And that's the idea.
You're right. So,
What are your thoughts, Bill?
Well, if the state is requiring it, the 18 months is, when is that?
That was passed.
March
That's
1st.
passed.
That was in
March.
March, yeah.
I think May was the extension.
Yeah, I remember something, and I have to dig through my emails, like there's an additional 30 days or 1 month on top of that
Published
18
then.
months that they kind of give you as a
So
cushion as
18
well,
months
which is maybe how we came
that,
up with
and
the
then we added
May
a
date
month
originally.
to bring it to May.
So the book was published in, and it came out pretty close to that.
Yeah.
All right.
And the publishing date is the date it's for sale.
what is Capitol saying that they're having a hard time getting?
2 pole breakers, the feed-through panels with the meter and the main in one box, standard 200 amp disconnects, surge protectors, that sort of thing. So disconnects are like 200,000 are on back order from Square D. Just stamped metal or a breaker. I don't know what the problem is, but they're not making them fast enough.
Well,
That all being said, St. Mary's has been on this code for a while now. They seem to be able to get the stuff, so I don't know. I don't know if it's the distributors need to be leaned on by the supply houses or what's gonna happen, because, like I said, I mean, if you can't get the breakers that you need for a final in a house, we're not gonna be able to final it.
Right. Would there be leeways for a temporary occupancy for homeowners? If it's based off of that material, we can use a substitute and then have a reinspection once the,
Well, I mean, that's up to the county.
I mean, from my point of view, as long as safety is not an issue, sure. I mean, if you're
Well, I mean,
comfortable, if
they've
you're
been-
comfortable
they've
with
been
the
safe
setup.
the last,
Right.
100 years.
Yeah.
So,
I'm happy to do that, you know, approved with conditions, and then they
Because we
can,
do have this temporary CO process.
And just because Capital doesn't have it, doesn't mean other supply houses,
that's correct.
is what I have found through COVID, you know, to where we always just used one, you know, we
Right.
tried to be loyal and, you know, put all our eggs in that basket.
Well, I mean, if they don't
Those
have the
days are
stuff,
gone.
you gotta get the stuff where you can
Right.
get it.
So, you really got to plan ahead. Maybe that's conversations with contractors, builders, you know, so forth, say, hey, as soon as you know something, we need to start ordering this stuff.
Yeah. And like you said, they
Like I
need to be
said, some of that stuff
notified.
is 6 months out.
They need to be notified immediately, because like you said, somebody may have bid a job with like a meter bank, and when the code changes, that's not gonna be legal anymore. And then maybe they've got a contract in and plans and vault the meter stack, I mean, I don't know. But stuff like that's not gonna be legal. It's pretty pricey,
That's a big,
pretty pricey thing to try and return.
Well, we roughly issue 2 permits a month for new houses, so it's not gonna be a volume issue, that's for sure, so.
Well, that situation would be a commercial issue.
We issue even fewer of those.
like multifamily dwellings, things like that,
Commercial building.
right?
Yeah, we do 2 of those a year.
So, well, if they're pricing them right now, that's their, just have to make an amendment to their price.
But this has happened for years, you know, when the code changes, it's a big, oh no, what are we gonna do? And we've gotten through it, we just haven't had to do it since 2017. Which is odd.
Right.
If Queen Anne's County's gonna adopt July, August, that's only 3 months out. I don't think 3 months is gonna make any difference getting material,
I don't think so either.
so. And I hate to split Queen Anne's County from Kent County, since we're so close and overlap, but if the state requires,
I'm with you. I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, rip the Band-Aid off. You know, Queen Anne's will get there when they get there, but at least Kent County will be covered and doing the right thing.
I agree.
But you guys are the members.
Thank you. Talk later.
We gotta have a chat anyway.
where's Mike?
Where's Michael, we need him? That's,
Adopting it now is fine with me.
And I don't think you need to make a motion or anything. I mean, we just sort of put everything on hold for 24 hours for this meeting. Our expectation was May 1st is the day, so.
we'd already approved that, correct? Yes,
You
sir.
did, you did.
Okay.
Okay, well, now
Just
it's
figured if anybody
confirmed.
applied for a new house yesterday, we'd just tell them, there's 1 day extra to wait on this, that's all. But, yeah. And I don't think anybody did, so.
Have new applicants.
Okay.
Right, Beth? Nobody applied for a house yesterday, did they?
I'm not sure. I'd have to check.
Well, we haven't even started the review, so. yeah.
Right, yeah.
Okay, well, good. So that's confirmed that we are going to adopt the 2023 code
Bumpy night.
as of yesterday, today.
Yep.
Get you up to date by the time Queen Anne's adopts, you'll be ready to go. Let's-
Great, great. Okay, Also, this morning I got a email from Mulewick, where they sent they're gonna have another Zoom meeting, let's see, May 22nd at 10 o'clock. And they also sent the minutes from their last Zoom meeting, which I gave you guys a copy of. And I also forwarded Victor and Bill the email that I received. Do you guys not get the email from you like I just got? Are you receiving any emails at all from you? You know, and I guess
I don't believe I am.
the
but
more important thing is, do you want to be on their list?
As long as you give them to us, I don't need to be on their list.
Seriously, I mean, I don't mind,
Right.
but I also, you know, don't want you to be, you know, dependent on me to supply you with what Mulewick's sending me. But here again, like I said, if you want to be on the list, I can email them and, you know, tell them to add you to their thing.
That probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
Okay.
That way, one less thing you need to do then.
Right, and for instance, in the email that they sent me, they were saying that, next week they're gonna send the link to the Zoom meeting, so it wasn't included in the email, you know, that I've already forwarded you, that we're waiting on another email, so you have the link to. So that's where I was thinking, you know, if I'm not here and
Right,
you're
you're on vacation.
yeah, you're missing the link and, yeah,
I'm fine with it.
okay. Okay. Well, that covers everything and more that was up on the agenda. So,
Is it Mueller?
They're addressing this 18-month issue in those Mueller minutes, and they're saying they're going to change the wording to the legislation so that it's more clear, that it's 18 months.
Good. Just so you know, Craig, I usually read those minutes when Brian says to me, you have to read these minutes, but I don't do that. Brian lets me
You don't
know.
get the Mueller emails like Bill?
I do, I get them, but Brian lets me know when I need to really perk up.
Yeah, well, that's good. Kind of clears all that up. And at this point, now that we're on the new code, we should get back to the old rotation of every 3 years. It's just kind of automatically
Right,
18 months from
from the issuance date.
issue date, not the January of that year.
Yeah, so it just gives you a month, so it would soon be the first.
now, do you think that it'll sort of revolve, that it'll be in the beginning of May, 3 years from now again, that once it gets published?
And then we'd have to go back a couple cycles and see if
They're
they're all
not-
published in September.
Just wondering how consistent they,
yeah.
because it seems to me it used to be March that we would be adopting the code.
Well, that-
Which
that would
makes
be
sense, that would be the
18
18
months.
months.
Yeah, so it probably will be March, Brian.
Yeah.
That was the normal.
You
It
know,
would be September of
Sure.
25, I guess,
Mhm.
when that gets printed.
It's not that far away.
Okay. Are there any new topics to discuss? Floating docks?
Even I don't want to discuss that. Is that the issue of who does the electrical inspection on the pier?
No,
Okay.
before the meeting, they were talking about floating docks. and I was-
He was asking me about light on the dock that we used.
Good.
Great, great. Okay, we have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you very much, Shelley. Couldn't do it without you.